Morning, mums and dads, parents. I wanted to just share some information about primary school homework. We often do parent information sessions when we're in school normally without COVID, so I thought we'd share one of my videos today that will give you a bit of a context of primary school homework. Some of the slides will have me talking, some of them won't, but if you have any questions about primary school homework, please contact your phase leader or email Miss Amanda, our secretary, and we can set up a call with you to talk through any homework questions that you have. Thanks. Whenever we design a homework policy or an approach in school, we always try to go back to what research tells us and what actually works in education. Now, homework is one of the most researched areas of school life. And the research is really interesting. What's interesting is that the research around how effective is homework in primary school actually is quite weak. The impact, the research suggests that it doesn't have a huge impact on attainment. As children get older and move towards secondary school, homework has a greater impact and has greater benefits to learning. But in primary school, actually, the benefits are quite limited. In the ARBA primary school homework policy, there are a few key areas I wanted to mention. One is that we do expect children to do homework if it's been set. You'll find that some homework is optional, some homework is compulsory, but if it's said, it should be done. Two is that you support them at home with it by creating a nice space where they can do it. We will publish our homework schedule on Frog, so you can see what children have to do. On Frog, we can actually log who's completed homework, so we can keep a record of what's happening, and that typically helps us to know what children have done and what they have completed. These are the key areas that we have in our homework policy, and I'll go into these in more detail. But as you look at the next slide, it'll talk through how these kind of gradually increase as children get older in the school. So what is expected of children at the ARBA school and the primary school? So in FS and throughout all year groups, we expect children to read frequently. We'll go into that in more detail in a second. We will often have a kind of project or some half-termly piece of work linked to a project, maybe even just to bring something in. As you move to FS2, you start to look at spelling, and it becomes more relevant, which we'll look at. Year 1, we'll start to add multiplication tables into our homework, and year 1 and above, we'll also add some maths homework. In year 3 and above, the maths homework is compulsory, and that is really important. We do log that and see what's been completed. The last few slides have all been about reading, and I wanted to just spend a few minutes discussing this. If there's one thing I would recommend that has the biggest impact on learning is reading at home. The research around it is incredibly solid. If children read frequently at home, it improves all of their learning in all subjects. Typically, we like all children to read. If I could ask, every night would be amazing, but I would say as a minimum 4 times a week. It's really important. In FS, you probably to year 1 to year 2, you probably spend maybe 5 to 10 minutes each night, initially sharing a book, but then children reading back to you. In years 3 and 4 and 5 and 6, you're looking at 20 minutes of reading really. Year 3 and 4, 10 to 20, year 5, 20 minutes of reading. Obviously, up until year 3, children will record their reading in their reading records. Year 4 and year 5, children should be independent enough to read on their own. But I would say, please make sure your children commit some time to do it. It's really important. Children will always have a book in their bag, either a level reader or a library book that they can access. We also have Raz Kids as our reading platform for our older children. So this would, I cannot underestimate how important this is, and it makes a huge difference in your child's academic progress. Yeah, I mentioned reading records on the last slide. This is an example of a really good one. I would say that this actually, when I look at the impact of reading across school and learning, the first thing I do is I select a child's reading record, look at how frequently that they read. It paints a really good picture of, is reading becoming a habit? Is it something that they enjoy, and is it a routine? I will say, as a teacher, as a parent, as a leader, I know some children will not like reading for quite a long time, and sometimes it takes a while to get to learn to love reading. But once you get to the point where they are comfortable and they enjoy it has a huge impact. So please persevere. Please encourage. Teachers will look at their reading records and will initial them and read with them in school at times. But this is probably our best way to measure progress. Is your child reading every day or most days? If they are, we know that it will have a huge impact on their learning. Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about spellings, which are also really useful. When children, in FS2, children will be given some high frequency words that they can learn to read by sight, or some sight words they might be known as. In year 1 and up over, there actually are set words children should know. At the Arbor, every half term, we test the children on these words on the grid on the screen there, and we highlight the words that children can do. We then teach the words and learn the words over that half term, and then the next half term we test again and we add more words that children can spell. The words that your children need to learn will be sent home, and we'll get them home to you this week so you can see where they're up to. And I would again really support your children in practicing to spell those words. It has a big impact on writing. It's really powerful, but also it's something that children can do at home really well. On the next slide, or a slide coming up, there's a video link to a process called Look, Cover, Write, Check, which is a nice process to practice spellings. But honestly, just regular practice, 10 minutes a week, going over some keywords, writing them, reading them, saying them is the most effective way to improve spellings. We will always teach the spelling patterns in school, so there's links to words, but at home, just practicing that process is really useful. In the email that I'll send, there'll be a whole booklet on multiplication tables. It sets out exactly what children should know in which year group and what they should kind of be able to do at different points in their education. From year 1, children start to learn their multiplication tables. They begin by counting in 2s and 5s and 10s, and eventually moving towards tables. by the end of year 4, and this is a really important piece of information, is that children should know all their times tables up to 12. So if you say to a child 6 times 8, they should hopefully be able to respond within a few seconds with the correct answer from year 4. So time practice and multiplications tables is really useful. I've put together a pack with lots of resources attached to this email. Please could you share it with your children, please practice it. As a parent, I find this is a great activity in the car because you can do it as children are traveling and make it into a game, and that has a real impact. Yeah, I want to just mention, we do use some really nice education online platforms. So Education City is available for all students. We set work in maths on it each week, but actually there's loads on there for phonics, for French, for science, for English. If your child wants to do more, wants to explore through their learning, please use that platform throughout the school. In Key Stage 2, we use Mathletics, which again, we set homework weekly. There are some great resources on there. There are some great assessments on there. Please use it and get your children to use it. It's a relatively friendly resource. If you have any questions about homework, please let us know. We'd like to speak to you and talk through what works for your child. I think in the email, Miss Amanda has given her contact details. So if you want us to give you a call and talk about homework for your child, we'd be happy to do so. We'll do that next week. And thanks for your time and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye-bye.